and by his words, he brings spiritual healing. Both Jairus and the woman experienced not by belief or thought or observation, but they felt the movement of Jesus' healing power. Movements of the body have always played an important role in the Christian faith. But today, body language isn't deemed rational or objective enough to be taken seriously. The semioticians note that we readily apologize for a careless word by admitting, "Sorry, I wasn't thinking." But have you ever heard someone confess, "Sorry, I wasn't feeling"? A gesture of the body traditionally meant something about the soul. In the Middle Ages, a simple gesture carried with it legal power. It could bind a person more contractually than a written document drawn up by a notary and signed by both parties. We still hear today, from time to time, that a handshake is all that is needed. Recall traditions such as the laying on of hands at confirmation or ordination. What about the throwing down the gauntlet of challenge, or receiving the royal touch of blessing or favor? Have you ever crossed your fingers for luck? Did you know that you were making an ancient Christian symbol of faith? Bold bodily demonstration of your faith in God's protective, caring nature? Crossed fingers were a Christian's secret weapon against evil. Instead of crossing oneself openly and risking the attention of dangerous foes, a Christian could call upon the powerful protection of the Holy Cross by making this small, inconspicuous gesture. This was a devout believer's direct communication to God through body language. Even today, we continue with the tradition of ancient Christian forms of body language. In some traditions, we cross ourselves, bow our heads for prayer, kneel at the communion rail. In many Pentecostal and African American churches, things get a little bit more lively. Body language in these churches may include jumping up and down, swaying back and forth, clapping hands, raising arms, dancing, and in some cases, even fainting. What is your body language? What is Polk Street's body language, particularly outside this sanctuary, beyond our time of formal worship? What the church is about is communicated less by our words and more by our image, our gestures, our postures, our lifestyles. Actions really do speak louder than words. Every time Jesus reached out and healed, banishing sickness, hunger, even death itself, he was practicing the body language of conspicuous compassion. Conspicuous compassion. Now, this was the term used by attorneys in a 1993 case appealing the decision of a judge to describe her reprehensible behavior in court. It seems that Judge Paula LaPasa of Indianapolis, while listening to a victim plead for forgiveness and rehabilitation for the person who had raped, shot at, and beaten her, the judge was so moved by the woman's forgiving nature that she shed tears. The attorneys for the rapist appealed the judge's sentence on the grounds that the judge had shown herself unfit to render justice due to her conspicuous compassion. Is the church ready to practice conspicuous compassion? With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should weep loud and long for the rising numbers of children orphaned through domestic violence. With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should burst into tears when confronted by the ongoing genocide that ravages our world and even our American neighborhoods. With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should stoop to embrace parents who have lost a child to gang culture and violence. With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should mourn the destruction of God's creation. With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should sob for the hunger pains cramping so many millions of people each and every night. With conspicuous compassion, the body of Christ should let the tears stream down its face when prejudice and bigotry drive wedges of hatred through all nations, through peoples of all nations and races. Are we to be a church of conspicuous compassion? More often we realize our body language is all people judge us by. What do first-time visitors think or feel when no one speaks to them? Or our visible consternation when children are a bit too noisy in worship? What does our body language say when our actions beyond these four walls speak not so Christian? Some bad body language is easy to discern. Other body language can seem so right when what it actually conveys is all wrong. Come, meet our pastor. No, come, meet Christ through our pastor. Come, enjoy our facilities. No, come, enjoy Christ in our facilities. Come, hear how great our music is. No, come hear how great Christ is and how greatly he is praised through our music. Come, join our church. No, become a member of the body of Christ. Being the body of Christ is a witness. Both our verbal and nonverbal communication must always be on Christ. A gesture of the body traditionally meant something about the soul. It still does. To be touched speaks volumes. Both Jairus and the woman received the healing touch of God. The woman felt in her body that she was healed, not believed or observed or thought. She felt with her body the movement of Jesus' healing power. May our body language bring healing, true healing, to those whom we touch with the good news of Jesus Christ.